reservation process was actually quite simple. You go on the priority list, and you have an opportunity to come up to the point where they began to show you some apartments. In my case, it took a little over 6 months, but I did see, not a whole lot of apartments, but I did see several, a couple that I did pass on because I didn't really particularly feel they were good for me, but I did finally find a great apartment in West Wind Terrace, and the person that I worked with, Gina, on the staff, made it very easy for me to get that apartment. And then the other people on the staff, like Laurie Phillips, made the moving process incredibly easy for me. I was really afraid of that initially, but she made it quite simple, both in terms of setting me up with a group that literally packs everything up for you and moves you to your new apartment, Home Transition Resources. And I work with a group of theirs in New Hampshire. And then Laurie also helped set me up with the moving company, which did a wonderful job for me. It was just an incredibly easy process, and I was really afraid of it initially, but they made it very, very simple.
In terms of the reservation process, in terms of the phone call, there was always people here to explain what was going on and walk through that. I think what was most helpful for us is I had gone to all of Laurie's lunch and learn sessions where she talked about the movers, she talked about the relocation services, the realtors, and when we talked with her, she made a special accommodation for us where we were able to plan on putting our house on the market after we moved into Brooksby, so that I wasn't in the middle of trying to do downsizing activities, dealing with a husband whose health wasn't very good, where we wouldn't have had any way of really vacating the house to have open houses and that kind of thing. And the relocation services were absolutely invaluable, particularly the ones that came the day before we were moving and packed up. They coordinated with the movers, and then when the movers came here, they coordinated with the movers. We used Laurie's floor plan, so everybody knew exactly where the furniture was going to go. And then they unpacked everything, so that first night we were all unpacked, ready to enjoy being here at Brooksby. And like the next day, I was getting some people that were saying, oh, well, I know you're busy unpacking and all of that, so we won't stay long. I said, no, we're not unpacking, because everything's been unpacked that we really needed, and it was great to fit in the community. We used a Brooksby realtor who was fabulous. The house was under contract in less than a week for significantly more than the asking price. Just a delight to work with that particular realtor. The mover, the Isaacsons, did everything smoothly. We had just a couple of small issues, and they took care of those right away. So from the perspective of somebody who was really focused on trying to keep a husband who wasn't really happy about the whole thing, and being able to spend time with him and let other people deal with everything and have it work out so smoothly was fantastic.
Well, I was in Florida for the winter that year, and the communication was more on email and by telephone than in person. But I worked with Gina, and then with Jane, and with Laurie, and they made it so much easier for me to be here. And even though I was doing long distance communication, they were terrific, very helpful. And I was able, my son picked me up at Logan Airport on April 12th, 2017, and I came right to my apartment here at Brooksby. So the transition was terrific, and they made it very smooth. I appreciated everyone that worked on the team.
Laurie had given me the names of several realtors. I contacted 2 of them, and I went with one of them. She was excellent, excellent. Because this is my fault, procrastination, which is not usually my thing. I usually jump in. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And this is me. But I didn't, and I procrastinated, and I waited till November. So my house did not go for exactly what I hoped for. But Isaacs came in and they packed up everything, including my clothes. I couldn't believe what they did. I stood there in awe of these people who came in and helped me and were as kind as if they were my neighbors. They talked to me as if I were their friend, and they helped me with everything. All the boxes were labeled. When I got to Brooksby, I didn't think about women on the move. That took a day for it to sink in because, of course, I hadn't written it down. You see that? When I realized this big mess that I had to undo, I called them, and in an instant, in a day, everything was put away, labeled, and I was like, I could take a deep breath, look at my apartment and say, look at this. This happened in the matter of a week, that I was moved, the house was sold, I was moved, and things were in drawers, in cabinets, in beautiful cabinets, by the way. The shelves roll in and out. I love it. I have a very bad habit, since my bad habit days, of not closing things. I was always being reprimanded. And so these doors close on their own, thank goodness, and the drawers close on their own. So I appreciate that. But moving was hard only because I was so hesitant to do it. I held on to this house. I had beautiful gardens. I had an in-the-ground pool and many memories. But you know what? I found out that you carry your memories with you. They're in your mind. They're in pictures. That's the thing that I'm swimming under now and trying to get rid of, are all the pictures. But they're there with you, and they'll carry you. And once you've made the move, once you've decided, put down your deposit so that you guarantee when your priority entry will be, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. I put my house up for sale. I moved in on December the 8th. So I'm a newbie, what they call a newbie. I like being a newbie because people always ask me, how are you? What's going on? But I'm sure they'll continue to ask me when I'm an oldie. I have friends here who have been here for 16 years. I can't imagine it. But I think it's fantastic. My husband and I had come when he was still alive, but you didn't have a workshop, woodworking shop at that time. So, and he was a carpenter. So he said, I can't go there unless I can take the whole workshop from downstairs, which was the whole cellar, with me. And I said, no, that's not possible. So I came without him, but I'm sure he's here with me. I still talk to him because I got in the habit when I was alone in the house of looking up, I don't know why up, and saying, Richard, why did you let that happen? Richard, where are you? Why aren't you helping me with this? And I still do that today. But now, if something happens, I pick up the phone and I call General Services and they take care of everything. So I have no worries. In the morning when it snows, I turn my recliner around, which I got from Treasure Chest, which is something you'll learn about later. And I watch the snow fall and I think, oh, I don't have to call John. I don't have to call Ricky. I don't have to call anybody. I'm here. And everything will be taken care of.
The actual moving day was interesting. They came and picked up, I had actually gotten rid of quite a bit of stuff, but they did pick up everything that I had in the house that I was bringing with me. And it wasn't a whole lot of stuff because Laurie and I had looked at everything beforehand and made a pretty good judgment on what was going to be useful and what really wasn't going to be terribly useful here. The movers came early in the morning. They were finished, boy, I think by 1 o'clock. Got everything out of there. I didn't move in that night. I did stay overnight in a motel in the area, but I was able to move in the next day. And the movers delivered the stuff. And then Home Transition Resource came in, put everything away in all of the, the closets and all of the bureaus and all of the cabinets. I just had to walk in the door and I was all set to go.
I didn't feel ready either. But you know what? You'll never feel ready. Were you ready to go to school your first day? Of course not. Your mother took you by the hand and she brought you to school. Were you ready to change high schools if you had to, or to go to college? No, we're never ready. But they make the experience one that you can consider yourself ready. Don't be afraid that you're nervous. Don't be afraid. We all went through this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's somebody out there who didn't, but I certainly did. I know that I did. But it got resolved, and with the help that I got, Jane called me innumerable times. Laurie called me. This is a great experience, and it is worth every minute of every tear you shed or may shed. I know, I shed them too, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So even if you feel you're not ready, one step in front of the other. That's all you have to do. Call your realtor. Then next, call your moving company. Then you need to call Women on the Move or some such, Women in Motion. I think they're all different names. But there are people that will help you through this. Take advantage of it. Find someone in the community that maybe you know from before that would help you with that. And good luck.
We felt ourselves getting old. We felt ourselves feeling the burdens of home ownership. We had that real tough winter a few years ago with the big blizzard and we had a lot of ice dams problems and all that sort of stuff, which really took the oomph out of living at home. I mean, I was really prepared to live right there, right until the end. But just the chores of being in the house got to me. The idea of getting a guy to clean the gutters and getting somebody else to do this. I did the lawn mowing and raking, but I found that carrying the wood into my wood stove, wood was getting heavier. Someone must have been fixing that or something.
Yeah, it's because we've got an electric stove.
So we got one of these nice little gas electric things. That still didn't quite do it. And it was just getting tiresome. And so we said, we ought to do it while we're young enough to do it and able enough to do it. And so we did.
And the other thing is, many people have also said to me they're not ready. And I always ask them, what does that mean? Because I don't know, I'm not ready. I don't know what it means. Does it mean physically? Does it mean attitude-wise? The reason when we had lived in our house for pretty close to 50 years, and it was a great house and it served us well, but our kids moved and company diminished and it was just too big. And so the other...
Here's something interesting. We had an 11-room house. We were using 3 rooms. Carol had her office downstairs, I had my office upstairs, and then we had the kitchen. Now we're in a 4-room place, so it's really bigger.
So the question, what we were going to do, came up, well, let's go get a condo. I could see no benefit to get a condo, except that...
That I would have voted no on.
Except that you had a maintenance free, but there would be no real benefits unless I decided I want a condo in the Mediterranean or I wanted to go to San Francisco. But to stay around here in a condo, there were no benefits. You're just as isolated. It didn't make any sense to me. So here at Brooksby, when we're on the younger side, you could do everything. And you're not coming here.
There are people older than us who are doing everything too.
That's true.
It's true.
And coming here, you're not just buying an apartment, you're buying a lifestyle. And the lifestyle is phenomenal. It's such an embracing community, and everybody respects you. People don't make judgments, and you can do as much or as little as you want. And the age and the ethnic diversity is something to truly admire. I look at all these people, and I'm friends with people in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's wonderful because we are all, at this point of our lives, we're all in the same chapter, but we're all on different pages.
Oh, that's nice.
And we respect each other for that. And I really learn from so many different people that I think they give me so much more than I can really give them. And it's been an amazing experience.
In terms of whether ready, as mentioned earlier, in my case it was getting to the minimum age. And so I had been anticipating doing this for 3 or 4 years before we actually pulled the trigger. And so I had been working on downsizing and figuring out what in the house we were going to keep. We had the good fortune that we moved before, so we weren't dealing with a lot of heirlooms and things like that. And I had developed a list of different places that I would want things to go. So we did it basically as soon as we were able to.
Go sooner. I would have, looking back, I definitely would have come here 2 or 3 years before I did. I just felt so accepted. It's such a friendly community, and it fulfills so much of your needs here that I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Don't hesitate, I would say to people, come and you will see you will love it.